What's up, family?
Hello.
Welcome to another Together Tuesday, man. I hope you guys are excited because tonight we have some things to talk about. Just to kind of give you the house rules, remember, you can comment on this conversation. You can contribute. You can ask questions. You can give your opinion. Utilize, whether you are on Facebook, whether you're watching on Facebook or you're watching from YouTube, man, utilize that chat. Talk to us because we're definitely going to want to hear from you tonight. The whole point of these conversations is to really get a gathering of all of our perspectives together. And at the end, kind of conclude with some type of united front, right? A way forward. And so far, we've just had some dynamic conversation, and I'm looking forward to what we got going on tonight. Of course, we do this every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. We have some of the most phenomenal guest hosts in the world right here. What time did I say?
2 o'clock.
Did I say 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Dang, Together Tuesdays at 2. That, they just kind of got a vibe to it. But at 7 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, we won't be here. We got some things going on. But 7 p.m. Central every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, be here to rock with us, man. And again, we have two of the most dynamic guest hosts in the world. We got Lisa Lace. Lisa Lace of the Iron Fist movement, and B. Warren of the one and only Controlled Substance and Multiverse. So, man, hey, we got the it's a good vibe. It's a good vibe. So listen, tag somebody, make sure you invite somebody, share, like.
That's what I'm doing now.
Start a watch party. Hey, get it in, man, because it's about to, as they used to say on Celebrity Deathmatch, let's get it on. So we're talking about the leader of NFAC was arrested this week, which I was shocked by. Not so shocked that, like, hey, black guy was arrested. I mean, obviously, it's kind of the norm and on this side of the water. But I was shocked, that it was him and that this just happened. And then, of course, we had this another incident down in North Carolina with a teacher apparently accusing her student of raping her. And of course, she's pregnant. I want to know when that accusation came. So I'm going to have some questions about that one myself. But as of now, I'm going to open the floor up to B. Warren, and he's going to kind of lead us into the conversation on our brother, Master J. I do want to say Jam Master J. Go ahead, B. Warren, open us up.
All right, so when I'm kind of looking at one of my screens here to provide you guys with some accurate information, but Grandmaster J, his real name is John Fitzgerald Johnson, ex-military, very, very big into the Black empowerment movement. Yeah. He actually, and his group is called the NFAC, as you already explained. Got my young one in here, so I won't say what the F stands for, but not
understood
around coalition.
Thank you for giving us that warning.
And I think you said your mom or your aunt be watching. I think you said your aunt be watching. So no. Yeah, we gonna mild it down for auntie and the little ones, but they're not effing around coalition. And basically what these guys did was just like you got the white nationalists doing the armed protests. They said, hey, we're gonna do the same thing. And they were very organized. A lot of them were ex-military. They were very aware of the laws and the rules and things that they could and couldn't do. And what I find interesting is down in Brunswick, Georgia, when we had the whole Ahmaud Arbery thing, there were rumors of other protesters trying to get in to talk to the police department down there and to talk to some of the government officials. And officials refused to talk to them. When Grandmaster J and his crew, and by the way, he's a former DJ. So that's what Grandmaster.
Okay.
I was trying to make sure this was the same guy. Like,
look, I didn't want to minimize the brother, but I was like, that's a DJ name. I don't know.
Yeah, he's an ex-DJ. I think he's about 50, in his late 50s, 57 or somewhere around there. Wow. But when he came down to Brunswick with the NFAC and they demonstrated the way that they demonstrated, actually, the police out down there in Brunswick came out to meet and talk with him. I think they saw, these dudes ain't messing around, like their name says. We better get out here. They also protested in Louisville behind Breonna Taylor, and then they also came here to Stone Mountain to protest, you know, the Confederate monuments and things of that nature. But he was arrested last week, and let's see, what did the government have him on? They are stating, now here's the thing, they just arrested him this week or late last week.
Okay.
They are saying the incident in which they arrested him for happened September the 4th.
I know for what anti-government ideology.
Yeah, and they're saying
wait a minute. No.
And that's crazy because I mean, who doesn't? I mean, I think the president speaks anti-government.
The current president is probably the most anti-government president.
I'm trying to keep it kosher and stuff for the kids and the old folks, but y'all know how I feel.
Well, my kid can't hear you. They can hear me. He can't hear you.
Okay, well, fuck this government. Like, that's how I feel. So, you know.
FTG. I love it.
Yeah, and so what happened was the Louisville police officers, they saw a group of armed men, and they mobilized to the top of this building in Louisville to where they could survey them. They are claiming that Grandmaster Jay pointed his assault rifle at them. But the thing that trips me out, and I'm gonna read it, it says, at that time, the LMPD radio transmission went out notifying officers that a group of 6 to 8 heavily armed individuals were parked on Armory Place. 2 federal police officers and 3 Louisville police officers then went to the top of the nearby grand jury building. When they got there and leaned over the roof, 3 of them were blinded by a flashlight. And they determined that this flashlight was attached to the top of his rifle. Now, there are pictures of him kind of pointing the rifle, but we don't know what he was doing. And my thing is, if you were blinded by a flashlight, how do you know what this guy was doing? But I have a hard time believing this. I've seen footage of the NFAC in action, and I've even seen him tell some of his colleagues to not even point guns towards statues because we don't want state troopers or anybody, you know, getting this wrong with, you know, what we're here to do. And so I find it hard.
Can I interject for a second? You said he's prior military.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Military officers, anybody that has any kind of common sense with handling a weapon knows you don't point unless you're ready to shoot. So I don't think that this person would even make that type of mistake to have a gun pointed at a target that he was not ready to shoot.
Yeah.
Me too.
And just to clarify, what did this happen at again?
This was in Louisville when the Breonna Taylor protest was going on.
Okay.
See, and they're just now arresting him for this.
See, I have that's what was bothering my mind. Like from the moment I saw the news, is that this took place now in the same area. I'm assuming same county and everything, right? Is this the same? Okay, same county and everything, where a grand juries could not conclude that officers were guilty of physically killing a Black woman, though they came to the conclusion that one officer was guilty for shooting a wall, for shooting a wall, but you could not come to the conclusion that officers were guilty of shooting a Black woman, but you can come to the conclusion of someone pointing a gun, aiming a gun, and let's just deal with the circumstances, right? They're up on the roof above these people. These people below have no clue who was up there above that roof. At that moment, if I have a scope rifle in my hand, right, which has a flashlight and a scope, that's my only mode of visual. That's the only way I can actually see what's going on up there. And as Lisa just kind of stated, as a person with prior military experience, if something's going on above my head, I want to know what the heck is going on. Now, while the looky-loos and the protesters, they just out here, doing whatever, a military person is going to have situational awareness. And so from the first time they hear something click off, they're gonna look up there, and I'm not about to depend on my eyes when I have when I have a perfectly good scope right here, and I know that I'm handled to use this. I know that I'm not gonna recklessly use it. So I got some problems with this all the way around. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in there because that's bothersome.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's like you said, man. He probably had no idea if in fact he did point his scope or whatever. We don't know who they are. They could be some crazy right-wing conservative people. And it's weird to me, bro, like how I don't know how to articulate this, but let's just say I'm a black man walking down the street with a gun, well within my right, legally carrying or whatever. If a police officer points his gun at me,
come on, sir.
There's no repercussion behind that. But if I see somebody that I can't even identify as the law,
you just happen to be a cop. I didn't know you was gonna be a cop.
You know what I mean? So it's crazy, man. But we all know what that's about.
Absolutely.
And we also know that had this been a group of white men, it would not be the same outcome. Like they would have common sense to say, well, they needed to see. They, you know what I'm saying? Like they weren't, flashing their weapons because they were ready to shoot. They were just like, we would have understood as a whole, as Americans, we would have understood the ifs and whys and buts about, how a white man or a white group of men, armed white men, could walk away from this same situation and we would have a totally different understanding of it. Because I know personally, living in America, the way the majority of Americans are looking at this black man right now, they're looking at him as aggressive. They're looking at him as, a threat to society. But white people can take that same scenario and see their own as heroes.
Come on now.
I mean, these people went and protested coronavirus, armed the fuck down.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to just throw in there because you hit it dead on the nail, and we have precedents. We know that this is the case because of Kyle Rittenhouse. Because of Kyle Rittenhouse, we know that white America will celebrate when a 17-year-old white kid walks through a crowd of protesters, with an automatic weapon, and he's aiming at people. He's threatening to use it and actually does use it. And when it happens, he gets painted, as like an American hero. These people raised up his bail money so quick. Do y'all remember that?
Oh, yes. And we're willing to throw another white man under the bus and call him the enemy because he was actually trying to stop this kid and was killed in the process. I believe that the guy was killed in the process of trying to stop Kyle, their hero. So at the end of the day, like, does any of this really surprise us? Like, this is like another day in freaking La La Land in America. Like the land of the freaking Looney Tunes. Like none of this stuff makes sense, and yet we still sit here and act like it doesn't not make sense. Like we know it doesn't make sense. All of us.
I think a part of that though is because Black people have already villainized, based off of our own indoctrination, have already villainized what people like Grandmaster Jay stand for. Like one of the things I was actually shocked to hear was Lord Jamar. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that deserves some discussion. I don't know if you guys heard it. I don't actually know what he does, so I'm not throwing this out to say, hey,
Lord Jamar.
Yeah, Lord Jamar.
Ex-member of Brand Nubian, a 90s rap group, and now him and I don't know if y'all remember Rod Digger from Him and Rod Digger have a podcast now. I forget the name of it, but I think it's called the Godcast. He does a lot of commentary now. But yeah, ex-member of Brand Nubian from back in the day.
Okay, so and I'm glad you mentioned Rod Digger because he he mentioned right after this happened that he had only brought Grandmaster Jay on to his show because of Raw Digger, you know, in respect of Raw Digger. But he was like, you know, I don't see that as a movement that we need to be joining, you know. And you know, I was like, you know, I'm thinking, because again, I don't know a lot about Lord Jamar, but I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of typecast people. Once I see the crowd that you kind of in, I go, okay, you probably think along some of these lines.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was like, okay, normally that side of the community talks real militant, right? And so I was a little shocked by that. But that does represent probably a lot of the views of a lot of African Americans who view militant is only okay when it is in the hands of the American military. That this is how Black folk look at it.
It's okay when it's in the hands of white people. And white people control our military, so it doesn't matter that, you know, we have branches of the military that are predominantly Black. Predominantly African American. It doesn't matter, because the person in position to control this military is white people. Rich white men. So being militant is only okay in America when it's white people, when it has something to do with white people. Black people are afraid of being militant.
Let's talk about that. Come on. No, go ahead. No.
We can. I mean, because I think I've said it before, especially down here, down south, where Black people are so dependent on white people. We're dependent on them for so much down south. Like, I mean, and of course, this goes back to my mantra, the whys are important, is because we know why we have this mentality. We know why we're so dependent on white people, especially down south. We talked about this at the Iron Fist movement the other night.
Yeah.
And I spoke about how different it is with racism up north and racism down south. That's not to say racism doesn't happen up north. It's not to say that it's any better or any worse. It's just different. The way it's handled is different. Black people up north have more of a militant mentality. Although I don't think they go as far as they can with it, as far as we should as a whole. I think that people that are born and raised up north have more of a militant aspect, because a lot of people up north, period, Black, white, Hispanic, doesn't really matter what your culture is up north. The lifestyle up north is more fast-paced. It's more. I'm sorry.
Real quick, just to add to that point, and I think a lot of that comes to because a lot of the Black people that ended up north because they did something that would have got them killed down south and had to get away. You know, when you look at 75% of the stories, it's the ones that will kill somebody that had to end up moving up to New York.
And up north also has that vibe of, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can help me, I can help you. As long as we can get something together, I really don't care. We don't even have to like each other. If we can make money together, if we can make something happen together, it's a lot of people up north that are working together within races that they don't respect. And they know they don't respect it, but they don't care because everybody's making money. But down south, white people want to hoard the what is the word I'm trying to use here? They basically hoard society down south. Like, they don't want Black people to have shit down here. And the Black people that do gotta lick a whole lot of white booty hole to get where they are. And the thing is that we're so used to it now. We're so used to the taste of chitlins. Eating ass don't mean shit to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're at that point where we will eat all the white behind we have to in order to make it, because we know at the end of the day, white Southerners are way, they're way more quick to put a nigger in place than they are up north. Up north, they'll think about it. Like, is this the type of nigga I want to fuck with? Probably not. But down south, they don't care. Like, they have that arrogant feeling that they don't care what type of black person it is. If you do something that has them feeling some type of way, they're gonna retaliate in some way, whether it's direct or indirect, whether it's fucking up your money, fucking up your network. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna do something to screw you over. Up north, they don't really take their chances like that. So it's like down south, we are definitely afraid to be militant down south. Absolutely. I have so many black people. I've said this before, crawling in my inbox. Hey, you think you want to say that a little softer or be a little kinder or, not use so many cuss words? Fuck no. I'm going to say this shit how I want to say this shit because I'm tired of white people policing who we're supposed to be. And I'm tired of us tiptoeing around their feelings and around, I just get tired of us trying to make white people feel comfortable. Because at the end of the day, whether they're comfortable with us or not, if it comes down to us and them, they're always going to choose them. And it doesn't matter how comfortable we made them. Doesn't matter how much confidence we gave them. Doesn't matter how many wounds we done healed. Doesn't matter how many babies we done fed. Doesn't matter how many things we done invented. How much culture we have given them. If it comes down to us and them, the majority of them will always choose them.
Ooh, Shabba.
And that's something we can't do as a people.
I was just about to say, man, that's interesting that Lord Jamar had that outtake because based on other interviews I've seen and I don't put nothing past anybody, to be honest. But this is the same guy that said Eminem was a guest in hip hop and there's no way he could be the greatest, which I agree with.
Wow.
But all of the things that Lord Jamar said is just interesting that he would have that outlook on the NFAC. And I don't agree with everything Grandmaster Jay says or does, but I kind of like the movement because it was, like I said, when he came down to Brunswick, the police department, I think it was the chief actually came out to talk to him. And I think that was based solely on the movement that they had. But you asked me a while back, why do I think, and I know Lisa just kind of expounded upon this, why I think a lot of black people are scared of being militant. And I think we talked about this on the first episode where, we grow up hearing that message. Don't you go to the white folks school doing that. Don't you go to the white, you know what I mean? And not only that, we've seen them take our leaders out. I mean, the Panthers gone, Malcolm X gone, so on and so forth. We can name them all day. So just a thing about fear, man. That's all it really boils down to.
Yeah, and that's big for me because we dang sure we got to fix this fear thing, because if we don't deal with this, we don't deal with all of the reasons these things fail, right? Like one, sometimes people in the generations before us, they like to use that "we" word when we didn't necessarily apply to them. So they say, we marched for this. You know what I'm saying? Just in some of those generations that came before, they said we was out there. And, and I know some of them was, but I know some of them were. But I watched a documentary of Malcolm, right? About Malcolm X after he died. And to watch the people talk. And you watch a documentary about Dr. King, you get the same thing. His own daughter will tell you he died the most hated man in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Not just by white folk. It was black folk who had turned against him in some of the ugliest ways. Malcolm experienced some of the same things, not because black people turned away from him, but because they said he got it. You know what I'm saying? He'll be here tomorrow. Yeah. He gonna take care of everything. So people would say, I don't have to go to the meeting today. You know what I'm saying? And so there was one lady on there who talked about that. She was like, the day it happened, I was invited. And I was like, no, I'm just going to chill today. I'll make it next time. And then she's recounting the story with tears flowing down her face because she realized she starts to ask herself, I wonder if it was part of our apathy that made this possible. The fact that we weren't surrounded, that we're watching the people. I've been wanting to do this illustration in the sermon. We're watching the people, and some of us are applauding in the background, but we're watching and not helping, right? And so then because of that, when something loses, we say, oh, we gave it the best shot we gave it. And it's like, no, we didn't. These people weren't just crying out to say, oh, look how great I am. It was a clarion call for you to get your stuff together and get involved. And so I think one of the reasons we're afraid of militancy is because, number one, we haven't even allowed ourselves to affiliate ourselves with the truth of how these groups were organized, which is why I like the fact that B was able to kind of let us know what they were kind of doing in Brunswick, what it looked like, so we don't have to succumb to that propaganda that we often get about situations like this. Propaganda that we've believed about the Black Panther Party for years without ever doing the research ourselves. Propaganda that led to the creation of the need for a Black August that most of us aren't even affiliated with, that talks about this armed resistance, this Black struggle. And I say all of that to say, and Lisa, then I'm gonna open it back up to you, and then baby girl, you jump in whenever you feel like it. But it gets us to the place, are we afraid of this because we've already just concluded in our minds that if it goes militant, we can't win? Is that where we've already fast forwarded to? What do you think about that, Lisa?
I do think that we have this in our heads that we would not win. And that's because I participate on Facebook. I participate in social media. I participate in groups where, we talk about more than, Kim Kardashian and makeup. And I see where Black people are like, we need to chill out because, they got guns and we ain't got guns, and, they know all of this shit and we don't, and this and that. So I already know that we have that fear. And in all honesty, I feel like it's a legitimate fear. Yeah. Because for one, the main thing that you have to have together in order to be a force is we have to be united. Yeah. And we have to be united. And see, that's what they don't understand about white people. White people are united. And the thing is that they will fuck over each other. They will fuck over each other all day long. Don't matter. But if an outsider comes in, they're closing ranks because they're going to stick together. They don't give a damn about not feeding the white people in their group.
Come on now.
But they damn sure are not going to feed the people that do not fit that description. That's why Black people will always be until, and again, it goes back to power not being given, it being taken. And we're never going to get any type of power until we take it. And we can't take it until we're united. And we can't unite until we get together and start picking apart and really understanding the depth of the menticide that has happened here.
There we go. There we
go. The depth of us being just ripped away from our history, ripped away from our culture, ripped away from our society. When we answer ourselves truthfully, why a people would want to do that?
Yeah.
Why would you need to strip me of everything? We can, like I said, we understand things when we're sitting up here and we're talking about, mental instability, and we're talking about why a woman could get to the point of killing her kids or killing her husband or killing her family, or why a bullied child can get to the point where he goes to shoot up a school. Why can't we understand what this society has done to us mentally? Yeah. And why we're so afraid to fight back? And it takes me back to when I was watching the documentary on the Freedom Riders. And there was what is it called? It's in North Carolina. The group of kids that protested at the store, and they went and said it was like a Wakefield's.
Yeah.
Wakefield's was the name of the store. What was
Yeah.
it? Greensboro? Was it the Greensboro 5 or whatever it was? Okay, so I remember watching that documentary.
Yeah.
And I remember having the most mixed emotions I have ever felt in my life of sitting there watching them having coffee, scalding hot coffee poured on their heads, being beat, being bitten by dogs, all in the name of being peaceful, all in the name of doing this with peace. But we know damn well we can't meet that type of violence with peace.
With peace.
Do the police meet? Do the police meet that type? Does our government itself meet that type of violence with peace? No, we don't. No, we don't. Because we will take our ass right over to another country. They don't even have to. They don't even have to mistreat us physically. For Americans to pick up arms and go and kill. And this is why I said to people, don't really don't come to me with that patriotism stuff. Like don't give me that thank you for your service. Like, I mean, I appreciate it. I get the sentiment, but at the end of the day, it makes me cringe because I'm like, at the end of the day, you'll praise us going over there. You don't care about the wives and the children that have lost fathers and family members, mothers over there. You don't care. The wives and husbands that lose their people over there, the families that lose their people over there to our killings.
Come on.
But all lives matter. All lives matter. When we come over here, we want to be peaceful and handle everything with peace and handle everything with peace. But y'all cheer on our troops when they go over there and kill other people's family members. They killing somebody's children. They're killing somebody's husband. They're killing somebody's wife. Even if you tell yourself it's for a good reason, it's still happening. And if you can understand it happening over there, how come you can't understand Black people in America getting to that point? Because it's physically happening to us.
That's right.
Ain't no Iraqi, Iranian, ain't now one of the motherfuckers came over here and did shit physically to you. But you praise that shit. You praise your child going over there, picking up a gun and killing somebody. You praise your nephew. You can't wait to show pictures of your nephew graduating from basic training, knowing that his job is to one day go overseas and kill somebody else's child. But we get over here and we're like, oh, violence is not the answer. Violence is not the key. Violence is never the answer when it's in the defense of Black people.
That's right. Come on.
We're the only ones who are expected to keep forgiving, keep being docile, keep being pleasant, keep being quiet. Man, fuck all of that. I'm not quiet. I'm not docile. I'm militant. Don't even call me an activist. Call me a revolutionary.
That's it.
Because I'm against anything that this government stands for.
That's it. That's it. And you know, Lisa, I think you're one of the perfect people to kind of harp on that one, because you know that's how we met. That was the first thing that kind of sparked this instant connection between us. Is this idea that I'm saying, no, this is a militant woman right here.
Yes.
And that, you know, to me, that's like the most amazing thing in the world. But so that's why I think you're the perfect person to kind of segue into this. And I want to sit here for a minute because this is important, because there is this fear that we've developed where, you know, anytime it's violence. And I want to say the crazy thing about it is when it comes to violence among us, we're not as adamant about the absence of violence, right? So when a Black person has mistreated me, has done something wrong to me, I am not as adamant about this idea of nonviolence.
Can I interject for 1 second?
Yeah.
Think about how we as people, have you ever heard the saying, family will fuck you over first? Family will fuck you over first, family will fuck you over worse than anybody else. Damn. Right? You get to that point, and even you, when you think about your fucked up ways, when you think about your toxic ways, when you think about the fucked up shit you did in your past, did you not fuck over the people that cared about you most? Because most of us don't like confronting strangers. Most of us don't really like, you know, and it might be that it might be that inherent fear of just strangers, but it could also just be that mentality that we have to fuck over the people that's closest to us, because we know those people are, first of all, what are they continuously doing that allows us to keep doing these things? Forgiving us. They continuously forgive us. And that is how we are with white people in America. We continuously forgive white people, so white people continuously do what the fuck they do. If we can understand that happening, again, this is something that we can understand when it comes to an individual relationship. Because the first thing we do is, well, you teach people how to treat you. What you accept is how they're gonna treat you. But then we turn around and think, that being kind to people that fuck us over is going to help us. Because if a motherfucker kept stealing from you, if your husband kept beating your ass, would you tell them?
Come on.
Well, if you just keep being nice, if you just keep turning the other cheek, well, he's just gonna slap the shit out the other cheek. We'll turn the other cheek again. Why do we give such stupid advice like that?
Come on now. And it is stupid.
Why would we do, like, we would never tell somebody to stay in an abusive relationship, but we tell ourselves all the time to stay in this abusive ass fucking society.
You know, and I think that welcome back, B. I think that has something to do with the fact that we've been so well taught to not value each other. And you guys, come on, make sure as you're coming in, man, please comment. We're gonna bring it up on the screens. But I think we've been so well taught to devalue. I heard there was a brother on the I should have got the dang clip. But white people have defined the American concept has defined Blackness as nothingness. That's what it exists as. So it's easy not to care when something happens to Black people. This is nothingness. And so now we know that if I perceive myself as nothingness and others who look like me as nothingness, when I'm angry, am I gonna go destroy something valuable, or am I gonna destroy something that I believe society will not punish me as hard for, because they see it as well as nothing? You know, but like, and that's one thing that it's always bothered me, because I do see an aggression in the streets, right? Obviously, there is an aggression in the streets that I wonder, why don't we see that aggression that's in the street lining up for movements like Grandmaster Jay's? Not necessarily saying it has to be his, but where is this? How do we get aggression out there, but we can't get aggression on the protest lines? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but it's no different than the man that beats his wife. He ain't damn lined up to go damn fight The Rock. Like I said, you and see, you only value people that you love and that you've been fucking over, you know, in that time in your life when you doing you and you just fucking people over. You don't realize how much people are a value to your life until they're no longer there.
Yeah.
So in a sense, if we don't get a hold of this quick, we're not gonna see the value in ourselves until it's all gone. Until it is all gone. Until we looking back and like I said, if white people rewrote history before, what would stop them from doing it again? What would stop them from doing it again? So who's to say 100 years, 200 years from now, our kids aren't getting taught some total bullshit, the same, just like we were taught total bullshit for as long as we were taught total bullshit. And if we're not raising kids to seek the truth, then that truth is just going to get hidden and more hidden and more hidden. And you're going to have a society of people that's okay with that being hidden, because we already live in a society that's okay with doing wrong. Because if we weren't okay with doing wrong, we wouldn't have a corrupt system to begin with.
Yeah. Man, okay, so watch this. Before we move on to our next topic, I want to hit this. Y'all, let's talk about this hypocrisy that we have. Why are we okay? And then I definitely want us to hit this comment as it coming in too. why are we okay with sending our kids to the military to fight for American interests?
We have got to address this comment right here. I'm so sorry. And can I please jump in? Because look, the name Marcus Garvey got me excited.
What you say?
But we can't expect to be respected if, one, we don't respect self, and two, you got to do what the British did for America to become a reality: war, but leave out the enslavement. Okay, I don't even care to address the second part of this. I want to address the first part. We can't expect to be respected if we don't respect self. To me, that is the most bullshit of all bullshit that we can tell ourselves.
Oh, snap.
Because, and I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
If your child came up to you and said, I don't respect myself, or I don't love myself, like I'm having issues with learning my values, learning my worth, is your answer going to be, I don't value you until you value yourself. I can't love you until you love yourself. I don't respect you until you respect yourself. That is to me, that is the most backward way of thinking, and it allows us to not change a damn thing. Because first of all, we're humans. So first of all, we cannot depend on ourselves to heal ourselves. We have to heal each other. We have to heal each other. We are a community creature. We can't do nothing by ourselves. Absolutely nothing by ourselves. That's first and foremost. Secondly, you don't know love until you've been loved. And you can't love until you know how to love. So if I took the stance of not loving you because you don't know how to love yourself, that means I'm unwilling to teach you and give you the wisdom that I have, because I love myself. And because I love myself, I can love you and I can teach you how to love yourself. So and then we're also taking the responsibility off white people to be good and fucking decent people. What the fuck do you mean you don't have to care about me until I care about me? If all lives matter, if your ass is walking around talking about you're human and you want change and you want unity, you should care about me, because you know damn well your ancestors taught me to hate myself. So at the end of the day, while we're sitting here basking in the ambience of what their ancestors created, they should be basking in the ambience of what our ancestors had to go through and what our ancestors had to leave on this earth, which is us, the product of their fucking depression, caused by their oppression.
God,
so at the end of the day, like I hate to go there, because that statement pisses me off so bad, because you have to have respect for self, but everybody's not automatically equipped with the mentality, with the heart, with the feeling to have respect for self. We are community creatures. We have to pass that knowledge on, because some of us are not born with that. Most of us are not born with that. If we want to be honest, most of us are not born with that. You learn love when you come out your mother's womb. Who the fuck do you think teaches you how to love? Your mother, your father. Somebody taught you that shit. You don't slide out the womb knowing what love is. You don't slide out the womb knowing what self-respect is. Somebody has to teach you that. Somebody has to teach you that.
Golly.
So if we all took it to where I don't got to do it because you don't do it, then none of us would be healed. None of us would have respect for each other. None of us would love each other, because everybody else waiting on somebody else to do it.
And and that seems to be the trick. The trick is, if I can get all of you thinking that if you as independent individuals don't respect yourselves, then you as a people don't deserve to be treated right, then I can keep you from ever caring enough about your people to actually want to do something about it. And so, like, it highlights this idea that we think the way our situation is going to change is that Black people in this country, or according to me, across the globe, are just going to overnight immediately have respect for themselves. And then the situation is going to change.
And then let's even go more so into what do you mean by respect for yourself? Because a lot of people just equate Black culture with being disrespectful in itself. So what do we mean by having respect for ourselves? Because I know a lot of Black people that live in the ghettoest of the ghetto, and they have a whole lot more fucking respect for themselves than somebody with $1 billion.
What you say?
So what do we mean by respect? Are we talking culturally, or are we talking morally here?
Come on.
Because in America, that line is blurred a lot when it comes to Black people. Because a white woman can get out there and shake her ass and she just living her life and living free. A Black woman get out there and shake her ass and she a hoe and a thought and a this and a that.
That was the question I was going to ask.
So what do we mean by respect ourselves? What do we mean by love ourselves? So because a woman goes out and she dances, does that mean she doesn't love herself? Because in Africa and in other places where indigenous people are, dance is a very respected art.
Yeah.
It's respected.
Yeah.
So how am I not respecting myself by dancing? Or is it the style of dance? Who says what style of dance is respectful and what's not?
Yeah.
And then for white people to be the ones judging, and they've been damn sleeping with their cousins, damn marrying people that was 12 and 13 years old for how many centuries? Like this shit just became illegal. And there's still places in America where you can still marry a child if their parents say so. And it's a whole lot more white people out here saying yes than Black people when it comes to their 14-year-old daughter marrying a 30-year-old man.
This is true. These are facts.
So what do we mean by respect?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I didn't know. I'm not to say the brother meant it that way, but you know, we kind of had this conversation last week when it came to the restaurant owner.
Don't take me personally. Please don't take me personally. I just, I don't want him to think I'm mad at him. I'm just that statement. It boils my blood. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But like when the restaurant owner said last week, I'm trying to teach the males how to respect y'all, and how can I teach them to respect y'all if y'all can't respect themselves? And the same situation here. And like you said, what does that mean? I mean, do we want does respect ourselves mean live in whiteness or not live within our own truth? Like, what does that mean?
I think you had something about.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, when we talk about respecting ourselves, like people, like I respect myself, my husband respects himself. We teach our kids to respect themselves. First, love yourself, because you can't love or respect yourself if you don't know yourself. We teach them that. But when other Black people look out into the world and they see, oh, somebody's son can just get shot, somebody's daughter can just get thrown on the ground, somebody's auntie, uncle, whoever it is, it don't matter the age, can just get shot, and we just sit there and film, or we do nothing, or we already blame the person that was murdered or slaughtered, assuming they were guilty. But when you look at that, how can you teach our young people? How can our young people, we tell them you need to respect yourself, and they looking at, y'all don't respect me, you let me just down the street. That's not a form of respect.
Wait a minute. Yes, ma'am. There we go. God dang it. So you're saying respect is a nurtured thing. You know what I'm saying? Like and so what we're expecting is people who've never been nurtured to have respect for themselves. Let's get away from the other definitions about just doing things that are different, but respect for themselves enough to say, should nobody just be able to run up on me and kill me any type of way. I've not been taught that. I've not been taught how to respect myself like that. I've not been taught that I've been valuable in that sense. I like that because it just takes me to this place again that we have this expectation on our people. We have all of these expectations on our people, and none of them actually come from coming within and studying our people and creating a if you will, an appropriate comprehension, right? So W.B. Du Bois says we have this dual consciousness. This consciousness that on one end we're Black, and on this other end we are the product of our education, right? And in the product of that education, we tend to characterize other people based off of that education, based off of that propaganda. And the problem that this creates, and I wish I could remember the name of the story that does this, is that it puts us in a loop where every time we break free, we're destined to come back because the only thing we're going to create is a carbon copy of what we've been put in, because we don't even allow ourselves to disagree with the coded standard. Golly, this is good, man. Golly. All right, B, I'm letting you jump in on that because I'll talk.
Nah, man. I mean, I think we said everything that needed to be said about the whole culture of or the whole statement of respecting yourself, and y'all got to respect yourself. And like I said, not saying the brother meant it in that manner, but I can definitely agree with Lisa with the fact that when I hear that, when it is said in that manner, it upsets me as well, because a lot of times we don't even know what that means. And a lot of times what they mean is,
But I feel like we do. We're just, we are so detached as a group of people that we can use our common sense. We can utilize our empathy and our sympathy when it comes to someone else. That's why I said we can understand these things on a smaller scale, even on a different scale. Now, had we said, well, I mean, even like the guy at the restaurant said, how can I tell men to respect you if you don't respect yourself? And we all cringed at that. Like, what the hell do you mean? That's really no different than telling a woman, how can you expect not to be raped if you walk around with half of your body out, half of your body exposed? We would never say that to women. We would never say that to women. Like I said, it was cringeworthy to hear this man say, how can I tell men to respect you if you don't respect yourself? Because whether I respect myself or not has nothing to do with how that person treats me as a human being. So why are we making it okay for white people not to care about us because we so-called don't care about ourselves? Because if we're okay with that, then we'd have to be okay with men going out here and letting themselves lose control and rape women because, women are walking around here with half of their asses out. So if you want men to respect you and not rape you, then dress appropriately and respect yourself. So we understand it when it comes out like that. But when we say black people don't have respect for themselves, so how can we expect it? It's like, oh yeah, girl, that makes sense. No, the fucking don't.
Well, I want to offer some pushback on that. What if they're saying, if black people don't respect themselves enough to do anything about it? What if they're saying that? What if they're saying until we do something about it? I still
don't feel like that gives the other person the right to mistreat you.
That's not. I don't think that's the point.
But what I'm saying is that is the sentiment.
The point is whether white folks should be treated any kind of way.
But what I'm saying is saying it in that manner, no matter how it's meant,
them from doing this to us. When are we going to respect ourselves to stop waiting for them to fix their issue? And when are we going to respect ourselves to say, no, you're not the fixer of my problem. We're gonna fix this.
And that's not even my point here, because they're not the fixer of our problems. My thing is when we say that like that and we leave that sentence like that, we are taking accountability away from white people. We're giving them
I don't think that's what we're doing there. I think
listen to what I'm saying. Just listen to what I'm saying though. Yeah. If I were to say to you or your wife, don't go out there dressed like that and you won't get raped. If I left it at that, that's
different. That's different. That's still using that other scenario. If you
let me finish my point here.
It'll show up a little differently.
This is why I'm saying we cannot leave that sentence like that. We have to stop saying that sentence, period. Because whether we mean it like that or not, that's how white people are taking it.
But why should we care how white people are taking it?
My thing is we should my thing is listen, it doesn't matter how we take white people saying it. We shouldn't be giving
what we should be focused on is what we're doing about it.
Listen, words have power.
Absolutely.
Words have power.
Absolutely.
So if we're saying it and people are hearing it, then whether we care how they react to it or not, they're still going to react to it how they react to it. So why even give them something to react to in that manner? Stop saying
just being black is giving them something to react to. I mean,
exactly, but we consciously
logic,
listen though. If our goal is to change our mindset, then we have to consciously stop saying things that are a detriment.
Changing our mindset, isn't the reason we're changing our mindset because we respect
my point is that it doesn't just stick to white people. That sentence in itself can go for so many different things. And if we're okay with that mentality in one area, then we're going to be okay with that mentality in another area. Because then it goes into your house, then it goes into us, period. Well, if other black people don't respect me, I ain't got to respect other black people.
I don't think it has to go there though.
It doesn't if we consciously know that what we're saying is not productive to our society. If we learn that saying until like, first of all, we could just stop saying it, period. Because if we really don't care what white people think, then we ain't got no fucking right saying white people ain't got to care about us until we care about ourselves. Let's just take that all out of
our... I don't think that's what they're saying. I think they're saying nobody is going to respect you until you respect yourself. Not respect you and what they think about you. Is that they will keep robbing you.
My point is
stealing from you. They'll keep killing you. I still
think you're missing my point. That speech in itself should not be said.
Organize and do something.
It doesn't matter who we're talking about.
Yeah.
My point is that should not be said, period. It doesn't matter who we are talking about, because that sentence in itself.
How else do you get people to do something different than what they're doing? How else do you get people to take on the idea that
we need to focus on showing people. We need to focus on showing people how to love, not telling people that, what somebody else can't do until we do it. Just teach us how to do it. Learn how to do it. It's spread out how to do it. Share that information how to do it. So we don't have to worry about how anyone else, whether they're white, black, your husband, your wife, your sister, or your brother, no matter who is refusing to give you that love, but to say to our community on any scale, in any type of manner, that anybody doesn't have to care about you is redundant to my whole movement, because my whole movement is we're supposed to care about each other, no matter how you feel about yourself, because everybody doesn't have to feel.
That's what all of them are saying though.
I didn't say all of them. We all know there are exceptions to the rule. We all know there are exceptions to the rule. I'm not saying this is what everybody means.
I think that's even in the definition though.
In the definition,
if you let somebody keep slapping you, do you respect yourself?
I still don't think you're getting my point.
What I think of.
I think we are. I think we might be arguing something different here, because my point is whether or not, okay, here it is. First of all, if you're allowing somebody to keep slapping you, it's obvious you don't love yourself, right?
But that's what black folk are doing.
That's not my argument here. That's not my argument. I know that.
I think that may have been what the brother's argument was.
I don't think you ever let me finish my point to even understand where I'm coming from here. That's not my argument. My argument is not if we love ourselves or not.
That way may have been where the brother was coming from.
Say that again.
That everybody doesn't hear respect yourself as stop twerking. Some people hear respect yourself as stop letting them do that to you.
But I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. Someone still has to teach you how to do that. So to still say, but my point is to still say, I don't have to respect you because you don't respect yourself, is still detrimental, because someone still needs to teach you how to respect yourself. So if you know how to respect you,
I think that may be what you're hearing, but I don't think that's what people are saying. I don't think they're saying white people don't respect black people until they respect themselves. I think they're telling black people respect yourself enough to stop letting them hit you.
You're not understanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying we're telling white people not to care about us. I'm saying saying by saying that, we're giving them the out to be like, well, hey, if they don't care about themselves, then we don't care about them. And at the end of the day, I think that's the wrong message to give to white people when we're in this mess because of white people.
But why do we care about the message to white folk? The message that should be most important is that the right message for black folk? You wouldn't tell.
No, it's not the right message for any folk. In my mind, it's not the right message for anybody. To tell anybody, no one has to respect you because you don't respect yourself. To me, I don't care what color that person is.
That's not what they're saying, beloved. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe they're saying.
My thing is the connotation that comes off from those words. That might not be directly what you're saying, but the understanding that most people get from it, which is why white people walk around.
Which is why white people walk around. That's not what they hear when they hear that.
Okay, so why don't we say that to women? Why don't we think it's a good idea to say that to women? No, we don't. No, we don't. Not without cringing, we don't. Not without cringing, we don't. Not without society. I bet you not near celebrity can get on TV today and say, women, stop going out there half dressed and half naked so you won't get raped. I guarantee you they will lose their fucking job. I guarantee you they will.
You give a totally different example and it does work. We absolutely tell women who've been in abusive relationships that if you don't respect yourself enough to leave it, he's gonna keep doing this. Now, when somebody says that, they're not giving him permission to keep beating her. They're letting her know the reality is.
But that was the point I made a few minutes ago. We understand that on that level. But then we turn around and tell black people that we got to be docile and respectful in order to get change from white people. We turn around and tell ourselves that if they don't respect us, if we don't respect ourselves, they don't have to respect us. So that is redundant. To me, that's redundant to the whole message of respect yourself so they'll respect you.
I don't think it should be respect yourself so they'll respect you. No. I think it should be respect yourself and stop them from disrespecting you. Yeah. I think that's the difference.
I still don't think y'all are getting what I'm saying. What I'm saying is how we say things put off a certain connotation. So you
and I both saw the statement and I did not get the same thing from that.
And I see it both ways. I see what Lisa's saying and I agree with that. And I see what you're saying and I agree with that also. I think it boils down to the situation, the way it's said and why it's said. Now, for the brother, when he made that statement,
okay, well,
I won't lie.
I don't agree with. I don't agree with that. You must respect yourself in order to receive respect, no matter who the person is. I don't agree with that. If we're trying to be a better people, if we're trying to be a better people, if we're trying to be a better people and we're trying to raise better people, then wouldn't we understand that if there are a people that don't know how to respect themselves, how is it not our responsibility to first teach them how to respect themselves?
But he's saying, hold on, but wait, listen, let me finish.
I have not been able to finish what I'm saying in order to get to my point. In order to tell you to respect yourself, let me finish what I'm saying. You have to let me finish.
That makes sense first, though, Lisa. You gotta make that make sense.
I'm going to explain if you let me finish my point. Listen to what I'm saying. Okay, how can we say in one sentence? How can we say in one sentence that our job is to teach those who don't know how to respect themselves to respect themselves, but then turn around and say, if they don't respect themselves, we have no obligation to respect them? That's he wrote it out. Listen. He wrote it out again. That's exactly what he meant. That is exactly what he meant. What he wrote is what he said.
We're not saying though.
But that is what he said.
No,
he wrote it out again. Okay, he wrote it out again. That is what he said. He said no one is supposed to respect you if you don't respect yourself. That's redundant to me. That is redundant to me. It makes no sense.
You said we need to teach people how to respect themselves, right?
Yeah, we have to teach everything. Nobody pops out of the womb.
Why is it wrong to tell somebody you need to respect yourself? If I have to teach you how to do it, why is it wrong for me to tell you need it?
I didn't say that. You're still missing my point. You are still missing my point.
I'm saying, I hear your point loud and clear.
You're missing my point.
That is the idea. You're
missing my point. My point is It does not make sense to say in one sentence that we have to teach each other how to respect each other and then turn around and say, but if you don't respect yourself, I don't have to respect you.
I will say for the umpteenth time, I agree with that because I'm not saying that.
Okay, and respect is something that is earned, not given. I don't agree with that either. I don't agree with his last sentence either. Respect is earned, not given. I don't agree with that.
I think on my end, I have to offer accountability.
Yeah.
If we teach accountability, also if number one, people have to be open to learning and teaching and exchanging with each other, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to be accountable. After a certain age, you tell your children when they become an adult, they have to be accountable.
Absolutely.
So how you display yourself is important. I'm not talking about to white people or anything. We should get to a place where what white people think or whatever, it should become irrelevant. It should be, what do we think? What are we going to do as far as action? But we also have to hold ourselves accountable, right?
Yeah.
And that should be a unified thought. And that's
well, see, I think I get where the disconnect comes in at. I think one of the things that Lisa's concerned about is us getting to the place where we define respect by white people standards. That's one of the places, right?
Well, that's not even my argument here. That's not here nor there.
I said one of them. I said one, right? Is that we're going to look at each other and say, because you twerk, you don't have respect for yourself, right? And that's definitely where we don't want to go with that. I agree 100%. We shouldn't go that way. The other thing that I think Lisa was concerned about, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, is that if we're saying white people don't have to respect you until you respect yourself, then that's giving white people an out. And I 100% agree. I don't believe that white people that you have to respect yourself in order for white people to respect you. Right. But whether you respect yourself or not, white people disrespect you. They disrespect people who they consider respectful, and they disrespect people who consider them who they consider disrespectful. But what I think my definition of respect, when I think of the word respect, again, it goes back to my respect for self. Now, this goes back to one of the things I've said about Black folk before. We are not the same, not in the sense that we're not one people, but in the sense that we are all different. We all like different things. And the thing that I want us to get to the point is to realize that that's okay. That difference doesn't make us separate. That different doesn't, and which means that just because I don't like the twerking stuff doesn't mean if I got a sister, friend, brother, whatever, that's what they like. It doesn't mean I should turn their nose up at them. But we don't want to create a counterculture either, where you look at the other ones and say, oh, well, they don't do that. They're not Black, right? Which is another issue there. But as far as, you're absolutely right. I believe it should not be used to give an out. So with the B clause, absolutely. But as far as saying you need to respect yourself, I still think that's legitimate. I don't think we get a militant Black people that don't respect themselves. I don't think we get a revolutionary Black people that don't respect themselves.
Can I respond to this?
Of course.
Because like I said, you're not getting my point here. Everything you just said, I agree with. None of that had anything to do with my point. My point is this: our words have power, right?
I agree.
Our words have power. So little things that we tell ourselves, we begin to believe on a bigger scale, which is why we feel like until we respect ourselves, we have no say-so in how white people treat us. The truth of the matter is,
that is the truth, though.
Let me finish.
But I just want to throw that out there. Is that or is that not a truth? Do you have control over anything if you don't respect yourself?
That's not my point here.
But
that's not my point.
I didn't say it was
Let me get to my point.
I'm asking you based on the statement you just made. I'm asking
what
you.
Does that have? That doesn't have anything to do with my point, though.
Doesn't matter if it has anything to do with the point or not. I'm asking, is it a truth?
Is what a truth?
Is it the truth that if you don't respect yourself, you don't have control over what another person does to you?
That's true, but that's not my point.
Okay,
here.
That's all I ask.
My point is powers. Our words have power. So if we keep telling ourselves that we have to respect ourselves or we have to love ourselves in order to get love and respect from someone else, then we are, in essence, over time, taking accountability from other people and how they treat us. Wait, I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not done. I have not even got to my point yet. I haven't even gotten to my point yet. My point is the power in how we train ourselves to think. If we keep telling ourselves in this society, because we still live in a white man society, right or wrong, is that true or not?
Right, that's right. Absolutely.
Okay. So when it comes to how white people treat us in America, at this point, we still have to care because we still got to live in their society. So when it comes to let me finish. So when it comes to the black bodies being laid out on the ground, are we really going to tell ourselves, well, they didn't respect themselves. Obviously, they're dead out in the street. And because they didn't respect themselves, black people ain't got to handle that. White people ain't got to handle that shit, right? Because they ain't respect themselves in the first place. So when another motherfucking white cop is let free, we shouldn't have shit to say. If we're okay with telling ourselves that we're okay with them treating us like that because we treat ourselves like that. If we're going to be okay with that, or if we're going to keep telling ourselves, if we're going to keep saying to ourselves, they don't have to respect us because we don't respect ourselves, then we need to shut the fuck up on the whole Black Lives Matter movement any fucking way. Because the whole point of that is to show white people that we do matter in this society.
Why is not the point not to show us that we do matter?
Huh?
Why is the point not to show us that we do matter?
I didn't say the point wasn't to show us that we do. We have to show us that we matter before we have to show us that we matter before white people even pay attention to us. But if we keep
saying the same thing that you're disagreeing with,
and I didn't disagree. That's my point. I never disagree with anything you said. My point is we have to be careful with what we fucking preach. Stop saying shit like nobody has to respect you until you respect yourself. I don't give a damn if we're talking about white people. We're talking about your brother. We're talking about your sister. We're talking about your mother. We're talking about your kids. Stop saying that. Stop putting that rhetoric out there, period. Stop putting that rhetoric out there, period. Stop making it okay for us to be shitty human beings because somebody don't care about themselves. So it's okay for me not to give a fuck about you because you don't give a fuck about you. That's what we're preaching. That is what we're preaching when we say, yes, we are. That might not be the message that we're trying to put out, but by saying that and continuously saying that, that is the message that we're teaching. But that is the message that we're teaching. That's why white people don't give a shit about us. That's why white people don't give a shit about it. That's why we don't give a shit about ourselves. That's why we don't give a shit about ourselves.
Asians give a mess about us, so why do we care about white folk? I think that's the reason why respect is central. We respected ourselves.
We're so used to giving people excuses to fuck us over. That's why we don't care about ourselves.
The other side of this sounds like you're giving us an excuse not to be accountable.
No, that's not my point here. That's what I'm saying. I don't get why we get confused here because I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. I'm giving you the why we do this shit. Why we do it. This is why we do it. This is why we do it because we preach to ourselves that it's okay to not respect someone else because they don't respect themselves. So in essence,
but America doesn't. Right?
That's my point.
Right. That's how I think we all agree on that. But I think the only thing that I'm saying is that
this is getting frustrating because I don't think
you will make the decision to change it.
You're not getting my point at all.
I think we do get your point.
No, I know you don't. I know you don't. Because if you did, there would be no argument here. Honestly, what I'm saying makes complete sense. We have to be careful about what we preach. We cannot.
No, I agree with that point.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. It is detriment. It is not good for us to preach that no one has to care about you if you don't care about yourself. That is my whole point.
I agree with that.
Okay. My point is we got to stop saying it on any level.
I'm not saying that. I've never said that in my life.
That's my whole argument. That's why I said you were not understanding me, because that's my only argument here. My only argument is that we have to take that out of our. We have to take that out of our society. We cannot keep preaching that right there.
I've said I agree. I don't know how many more times I can say I agree.
I think what you're disagreeing with is how we mean it. And I'm not saying that we all mean it the same way. I'm not saying no, because you said I don't think that we all that most people mean it that way.
Because I don't mean it that way. When I say you,
but my thing is we don't mean it that way. The connotation does the work itself.
No, the connotation of that sentence does the work itself. The context does the work itself. I think if you come from a context where every time you hear it, that's what it meant, I think that's how you perceive it. But in my context, when I hear it, that's never what it means. Like I said, again, if you're telling a woman.
But then he went and elaborated and said that's exactly what he meant, though. He went and elaborated and said that's exactly. But my response was to him, though. My response was directly to what he was preaching. But we're talking, this is Together Tuesdays. We're talking about things that happen in our community. We're talking about things that happen in our community. And that's why I said that sentence in particular was what I wanted to specifically talk about, because I specifically think that sentence in itself is detrimental to our society. Period.
Right.
I don't think we should say that in any context.
Right. Well, see, you say in any context, and see, that's where the disagreement comes in. That's the only place of disagreement. Because, like I said, I say you need to respect yourself all the time, and I'm not saying you don't need to respect yourself. My whole point is, yes, you need to respect yourself, but me respecting you has nothing to do with whether you respect yourself or not. It has everything to do with me respecting myself, and because I respect myself, I'm gonna respect you whether you respect you or not. Absolutely, but we're not talking about a respectful people. We're talking about the people who've already proved themselves disrespectful. So I don't have time to teach America what it means to be respectful.
That is my whole point. That is my whole point.
Yeah.
We keep saying that around people that already don't fucking respect us. So we need to take that out of our vocabulary period, because we still live in their world. We still live in their world. So us continuously saying that is the same reason we got black bodies that they don't give a shit about. Because at the end of the day, you know what they hear? They hear black people on social media saying, well, black people be saying all the time, if they don't care about themselves, we don't got to care about them. I see this shit. Just go on social media and read these white people saying this shit.
You're saying white people now don't have to respect you because you believe that white people only have to respect you if you respect yourself.
That's not what I said.
That's exactly what you just said.
No, I said that's how white people. I said that's how white people perceive what we're saying. I said that's how white people take it. When white people look at us on Facebook, when white people look at us, our comments on a dead black body that says, well, we can't expect white folks to respect us until we respect ourselves. You know what they doing? They turn around and looking at Bob.
I think all of us have already said we disagree. We agree with you on that part. We disagree that should not be used. We shouldn't be saying they're not going to respect you until you respect yourself.
Okay, well, that's my whole point. But me personally, I feel like we should stop saying that in any context, period.
Right, and that's where we disagree. So the only
and I don't have a problem with that.
Accept that.
I don't have a problem with that, but I know you are not understanding what I was saying for a long time.
No, I understood it from the beginning. I agree with you from the beginning.
I don't think so. I don't.
I'll tell you what, as soon as it's over, rewind the tape, and you're going to see as soon as you said it. I said, no, I agree with that. And the only thing I said, I want to offer you some pushback to say that everybody, when they say respect yourself, does not mean it in the same context of respect yourself or they will never respect you.
And I received that. I still disagree. I still disagree.
Stop them from disrespecting you.
And I heard all of that. My point is I still disagree. I still think in any context, that is the wrong thing to say.
But see, you disagree, but it's just because you disagree with the phrase, because you also said that they need to respect themselves. So you can't say we need to respect ourselves, but nobody can tell us we need to respect ourselves.
That's not what I said.
That's
I never
exactly
said nobody.
what
No,
you just said.
no.
You don't think we should tell each other we need to respect ourselves in any context.
I still think you're missing my whole point. You got to be, because I don't even know where we are right now. You got to be still missing my point here.
That's
I never said nobody should tell us.
Exactly
I never said nobody should tell us to respect ourselves. That's not what I said.
Right.
I
you
said,
listen
closely, because not now time that I've tried to explain myself to you, have you actually just listened through and let me say it. Listen to what I said. No, you go back. You go back and watch the video.
I think you go back and watch the video. You're gonna realize
you have interrupted me every time I've tried to explain my point. Let me explain my point with no interruption.
Even the audience has said you've just repeated the same things over and over again.
No, obviously you're not getting what I said, because I never said that no one should tell you to respect yourself or not. That's not what I said. I never said anything like that.
Okay, yeah. So okay, let the lady jump in. All right. So no. But on my husband's end, okay, my husband, because me and my husband, we'll get into it once in a while, right? And on the lady's side, I always say the same thing you say. I say, you're not hearing me. You ain't hearing what I'm saying. You don't get it. But my husband, he does like remember word for word. Like this is
me too.
This is what he do.
I'm
so
very
good. I say it to him a lot too. I say, you don't understand me, and then he'll come back and replay, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. So I don't think it's not that he's not understanding, but where you disagree at in the points, it's like, okay, at this point, what's the solution, right? Yeah. So we giving dialectics. I don't see it as an argument. It's all in love. That's why it's together.
Yeah.
2sDays. We got to be able to do this, because you got to offer your piece. Brian got to offer his piece. Everybody who's on the line,
Brian has got to offer his
together.
piece.
This is what it's going to look like, guys. When we're doing the work, this is what it's going to be, that back and forth. But
absolutely.
I love it, because
this is what Congress looks like. This is what Congress looks like.
If more Black people were willing to do this, we could get somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because often what will happen is they'll have
a disagreement, and they'll be ready to just say, well, fuck you, nigga. Fuck you, fuck what you think. Right. I'm not like that, because I genuinely want people to understand where I'm coming from. My thing is that I'm not disagreeing with a thing D is saying. My thing is, my whole thing is, if I can get this out completely, no interruptions. First of all, let me go back and reiterate my stance on the whole respect thing. I don't care, in my mind, I don't care how we're looking at respect for real. I only offered the question because I do want to know what he meant in his aspect. Now, when he came back and he reiterated what he said, what I took from it, and that's why I responded the way I did. When he said, I'm saying, if you don't respect yourself, nobody else has to respect you. That on its own, let's just take that sentence on its own. To me, I do not agree with that. I do not agree that it is positive to us moving forward as a culture. Now, let's go back to the whole white people thing. This ain't about me caring what white people think, because I personally do not give a finnuck at all. I don't care what white people think. But my thing is that we have to navigate in this society in the right manner. We know we still live in this white society. And we know that white people love to get a taste of anything that they think might be in agreement with them mistreating us. So when we get our Black asses on social media and we say shit like, how can we expect white people to care about us when we don't care about ourselves? That only gives them more ammunition to turn the other way every time a Black body is laid out on the street, which is why they do nothing but throw us $1 million fucking dollars, because they know we don't know what the fuck to do with that type of fucking money. They throw us $1 million because, hey, Black people said, if we don't give a shit about them, they ain't got to care about themselves. So they don't care about themselves. We ain't got to give a shit about them. This is why white people continuously treat us the way they treat us. And it goes back to us not demanding our respect from them, because we sitting back thinking, if we don't respect ourselves, then we ain't got no right to demand respect from white people, which is a lie. which is a lie because the majority of us don't disrespect ourselves. We have respect for our culture. The thing is that we live in a society that doesn't. And this society outweighs us as a people. So those few of us that do have that respect, we have to teach it to the ones that don't have it. Because if we look at them the same way that they looking at themselves because they don't give a shit about themselves, so they don't think white people got to give a shit about them, then that means if we're using that logic, then we're looking at them like you don't give a shit about yourself, so we're not obligated to teach that back to you. And that's why so many Black people feel like they're not obligated to go back and put love and respect in the same hoods that they run away from to go be off with white people, to go give their kids a better life. They don't come back and show those Black people how to respect themselves, how to love themselves, so that they can have more love and respect for themselves, so they can demand it. Quit asking for it from white people and fucking demand it. But we can never demand it until we learn how to navigate within respect ourselves. And first and foremost, respect is not earned. It's first given. You have to work to keep respect from someone. But initially, everybody should walk around here giving people that same basis fucking respect. If you can't do that, then it's something wrong with you. So if white people look at us and say, I ain't got to respect that dead nigga on the street because the majority of Black people kill themselves anyway, then how the fuck can we turn around and say we're obligated to teach respect if we're in the same sentence teaching people not to respect? Does that make sense to y'all? Am I making a point here?
I don't hear the teaching not to respect in the sentence, though. I hear teaching to respect in the sentence.
My point is, we cannot say in one sentence that we have to teach respect.
Yeah.
But then in another sentence say we don't have to give it either. To me, that's not working. That's not working.
Okay,
right.
You're talking about the respect is not given, respect is earned thing.
I'm talking about all of that correlates together. The fact that we feel like white people don't have to respect us. Stay with me. We feel like that. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we all feel that way. I'm not saying that we all feel that way. But if we look at the majority of how we work on social media is a reflection of what we work as in society. So when I'm on social media, I didn't say all of us. I didn't say all of us. But a white person don't need nothing. Well, a white person don't need nothing but that one Black friend.
Why are we still talking about the white person? They gonna do what they gonna do regardless. How they keep getting in this trouble?
This is not about white people.
Listen, I'm gonna jump in real quick. I see both sides, and I think it heavily relies
on how we are teaching ourselves to treat ourselves living in a white society, because we still live with white people. That's like airing your fucking dirty laundry out when it's strangers standing in your household.
Right. Like twerking in a restaurant.
Point. Stop saying stupid shit. Let me just get straight to it. Stop saying stupid shit around white people so that they can go back and regurgitate that stupid shit to me. Well, my Black friend said. My Black friend said. My Black friend said. Because that gives that same mentality is the same reason why they can get their ass on fucking Facebook and say fuck that dead nigga in the street because they kill each other. They don't respect each other. So fuck them. That's it. Just another fucking dead Black body. And here we are again, watching another family take money instead of fucking justice.
Yeah, let's let me get it at least.
I was just gonna say on both fronts, I can agree. For example, you have Black Donald Trump supporters. You got Herschel Walker, you got Herschel Walker's son, you got this one cat, I don't know his name, but he's like a comedian that walks around eating chicken, acting like he's from a minstrel show, and he's a Donald Trump supporter. And they will come out. Yeah, they will come out and say, oh, well, why should the Trump supporters care about Black people when we do this and we do that? Now that's not okay. And I think, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I think that's kind of where she's getting to.
Absolutely.
Now the brother came back just a few seconds ago. I don't know if y'all saw that. I think he was trying to expound on what he meant. What he said was, you know, when things happen in the Black community, we don't do anything about it. And I'll tell you like this, for example, you can go into certain neighborhoods here in Atlanta, all across the country, and they'll stop me and say, bro, who are you? Where you from?
Yeah.
Do you know anybody over here? Same in the same neighborhood, a white guy can come in there. They ain't saying nothing to him. They going the other way. You know what I'm saying? So in that situation, I can kind of see what he's saying. You feel me? I just really think it depends on the context and what it's around. I mean, to justify black people getting shot down, right? Because we don't necessarily respect ourselves, or it's black on black crime, like that's never right. And I also agree with her idea of, now it's kind of a slippery slope, but when I meet somebody for the first time, they haven't earned anything. Right. But I'm going to respect that person just out of
absolutely.
And that's the point where my husband always says he treat everyone with kindness of strangers.
Absolutely.
That's respect.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm not just,
So yeah, that was my whole point. Just I think I see both sides, and I think it heavily relies on the context and what we said in it. Because if you remember last week, we said that the restaurant owner coming out and saying, hey, if y'all ain't gonna respect yourselves, how can I tell the gentleman to respect y'all? That wasn't cool. So it really, to me, depends on the context of which you're saying it in, and that's all I think.
Absolutely. Oh man, this was
the only reason I don't get that is because I don't know what other kind of context you could use that in. Like what other kind of and respect is really based on what you feel respect is or what it isn't. But in what sense is it okay to say if you don't, like, you're not respecting yourself? I mean, unless that person is disrespectful to you and you have a personal beef with that person where you feel like you need to get disrespectful, in what other sense is it okay to disrespect somebody because you feel like they don't respect themselves?
It's not.
And that's my point.
And I don't think anybody's arguing against that part.
That is eradicated from our vocabulary, from our mindsets.
That's the part that the disagreement is coming in. The first part, I'm not disagreeing with it at all. You're absolutely right. The other part is, I'm just saying different context, it means different things, unless it has.
And that's what I'm saying. I want an example of what you mean by
I'm giving you like 3 of them. I'll give you another one. Like when you tell it, if my child comes, if I see my son letting somebody just slap him in the face, after I deal with that person, I'm going to ask him, did you not respect yourself enough to stop them from slapping you in the face? I'm going to ask him that, because that's not something I necessarily had.
Well, are you telling your son that it's okay for that person to slap him in the face?
Nope, never said that. Because if you listen, I said,
that's my point. That's my point. By saying, now, had you walked up to your son and been like, well, I seen he was slapping you in your face, but obviously you don't respect yourself, so you deserve that. If you wouldn't tell your son.
That's not what I said.
I didn't say that's what you said. I said if. I said if you went to your child and said that, that would be fucked up to say.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's my point. I don't get how in any context it would be okay to say if we don't respect ourselves, no one else has to respect you. Because even walking up to your child, even walking up to your child in that instance, to me, is still not okay to be like, well, you didn't respect yourself.
That's okay for you to feel, and it's okay for me to disagree. Can you be okay with that?
I'm okay with that. I'm just saying that's my point. That was the point I was trying to make. I don't agree with it in any context.
Exactly which part I agree with, exactly which part I disagree with. That's the part. That's the part, huh? That's the part where we just got to learn that. And again, I said we're all different. We're not always.
But you didn't disagree with me, though. You just said you would not say that.
Right.
So in essence, you agree with what I'm saying. That would still be a bad instance to say.
But
said, give me an example. I said, give me an example where it would be okay to say, if you don't respect yourself, I don't have to respect you, or nobody has to respect you.
And
you brought up being slapped. And even in that instance, you said it wouldn't be okay to say that. So if it wouldn't be okay to say that, then you agree with what I'm saying.
I did say it was absolutely okay to say you need to respect yourself enough to stop letting them hit you.
I never disagreed with that part. My part is
that's the only part I said. So what did you disagree with? Because that's the part that I said. That's the part that I said. So at that point,
but you said it as if that was my point. That was never my point.
I wasn't saying that if that was your point. I was letting you know that's what's my point. See, here's the thing. You keep thinking I'm not understanding your point, and I've understood it from the beginning.
We're just gonna go back and watch the video because I'm not that crazy. We just gonna have to go back and watch the video.
Every time I'm talking, you're talking, beloved. And I'm not disagreeing with you at all. It's every time I present my point, that's when it goes back into argument. I'm saying I agree. Only thing I've said is that in different contexts, is the phrase "you need to respect yourself" by itself with no addendum shouldn't be the problem by itself, because in different contexts that should be okay. That's what I said. Now I absolutely agreed. If you're saying
I don't even know how we got to arguing about that, because I never disagreed with that.
But that like after I just gave my little illustration, you gave this other illustration that I didn't know.
I specifically asked you to give me a scenario where it would be okay to tell someone, if you don't respect yourself, I can't respect you. You did not give me. That's not the example you gave.
I never said that I would ever say that to anybody. That's why I said without the B clause.
Okay,
I said without addendum. I said without the B clause.
I said I disagree with that statement in any context. The specific statement that if we don't care about ourselves, no one else is obligated to care about us. That is the specific statement that I disagree with in any context. You said you understand it in certain contexts. I don't understand that in any context.
What I said was, I'll repeat it. What I said was the statement, you need to respect yourself without addendum, without B clause, is what I said was okay. I literally just said that, Lisa. Like I just said.
I know you just said that. I know you just said that, but that's not what was said a few minutes ago.
I've been saying that all night.
You just have to go back and watch the video, because I know I'm not doing that hard.
Please, I'm gonna expect the message now after you watch it.
Oh, trust me, I'm gonna be like, I told you. I told you what I said. I told you.
So I think this has been good. To give a little break from me and Lisa talking for a minute, we're gonna wrap up right here. And I'm gonna let baby girl, I'm gonna let you give us your closing thoughts. I'm gonna let B, I'm gonna let you give your closing thoughts. Then I'm gonna give mine, and I'm gonna let Lisa close us out tonight, just to prove there's no hard feelings, because that's my sister. She's a soldier out there. I love her no matter what we go through.
We ain't gotta prove shit to nobody. Ain't no hard feelings. I like to argue.
You still closing it out. Closing it out. So, baby girl, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Yes. My closing thoughts are: at the end of the day, this is what work looks like. But it also looks like coming to solutions. Okay, so after we get to a point where, okay, I feel this way, we have A, B, okay, we should take this, that's what doing the work is going to look like. Because at some point there's going to be plans, there's going to be things we're going to come up with, right? And we got to give or take, what the majority wants, if we do it that way or whatnot. But so I just say be open, continue to be open for open dialogue in a loving way. As you can see, you can have dialectics, not arguments, but dialectics where we're conversing.
Ain't nothing wrong with arguing.
Well, not debate. Arguments is okay, not debate. We're not debating.
Yeah.
See, and I'm glad you mentioned that.
At the end of the day, the goal is for us to be liberated.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do want to highlight that there is a difference between debate and dialectics. And what you just saw here was not dialectics. It's two people going back and forth trying to get to an understanding. If you listen to one of the things Lisa says was, I don't see how you could be disagreeing. That was the point. It's not, I'm trying to make you see it my way. It's, I don't see how you couldn't see it this way, right? And so that's what dialectics is. It is a dialogue where we talk back and forth until we get to a point. I think a lot of times we're scared of those conversations because I think we are kind of a high intensity people, and because it takes longer than we're used to, right? So Congress sessions sometimes take some days. It takes longer than we're used to. But so, I don't think we're going to be able to come to our solutions in 45 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes. Yeah. But these conversations, they dang sure help us pull out what we need to be working on, what we see. it helps us go back to the drawing board and say, man, I need to look at that differently. We see each other. So I love that. And I'm going to let that count as my closing remark because I interrupted. You want to finish yours, baby? All right, B, it's on you.
Oh, man. You see, I'm over here like, I'm trying to jump in here and there. But no, explosive conversation. I look forward to these every
I swear
Tuesday.
I saw you pull out a bowl of popcorn for a minute, B.
Yeah, man. I look forward to these conversations every Tuesday. And like y'all pointed out, man, I think that's the best thing, or the cool thing about it. You know, we can disagree on things, but the main part is to not fall out about a disagreement. It's okay, you know, if we don't always see eye to eye. That's how movements split. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I wanted to say, man. I appreciate y'all inviting me as always, and I look forward to next week.
Yes, sir. Woo, woo. All right, Lisa, it's on you.
All right, I ain't gonna take up too much of y'all time. I'm just gonna reiterate on what we've said here tonight. This is what work looks like. This is what change looks like. This is what healing our mentality and our spirit looks like. You know, you have to get through that ugliness, that what we see as ugliness. And it's not ugliness, because I always feel like if you're invested in this conversation, that means you care. When you're quick to walk away from it, then first of all, either you just wanted to prove your point, or you didn't give a fuck about the conversation in the first place. So for me, I will continuously argue with somebody because I genuinely want to understand where they're coming from. I genuinely want to know that they understand where I'm coming from. So I don't give a fuck how long an argument takes, especially if it's with people that I care about. If I don't give a shit about you, I just walk on and be like, girl, bye. But the fact that I care, and I care about what we're doing, I care about the solutions that we come up with, I'm going to be here for these ugly arguments. Y'all gonna see me raise my voice. Y'all gonna see me get loud and even get ugly and start pointing fingers and all of that shit. But we need this. We need this. We have to get past that uncomfortable stage of, you know, and the people love to run away from the conversation when it gets loud, because we feel like emotions are not supposed to, you know, emotions go out the window and you're only supposed to use logic. If you ain't talking to me with a passionate tone, I don't feel like you give a shit for real. So you can go about your business with that soft-spoken shit. If you can't raise your voice with me and get in there and be like, hey, like, look, this is what I need you to do. Even if you got to tell me to shut up, I'd rather you do that than walk away from a conversation that I know needs to fucking happen.
Absolutely. I love it, man. Y'all, I think this might be the longest one we've ever done. And we didn't even get to our other topics, but it's okay. There's plenty of more Tuesdays left. But I gotta say, you know, this is beautiful. From my whole heart, I just want to thank both of you guys, number one, our beautiful co-hosts, for being on here with us, for committing to be here with us. I know both of you guys got families, you got lives. And so for you being willing to be a part of this conversation and put yourself on display for the sake of our people, that is major. I honor you so much. Thank you for that. And Marcus Garvey, you brought the heat tonight, bro. You gave us something to chit chat about. So, you know, look, man, we're not going to forget about you. And that's exactly what we want. We want you guys putting in your inputs. And I told you, we don't censor our guests. So we go all in here. If we don't like what you said, we're going to talk about it. You better treat this like you're coming to the comedy club. When you comment, it's like sitting in the front row. Now, you know they were going to say something. But no, I
still got love for Marcus back there, though.
Absolutely, man. What? But so we love you all, guys. Thank you. Be back here with us next week, same time, not 2:00, but 7:00, same time, Central Time. B had to ask me that. 7 my time, 8.
Yeah, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, everybody.
Man, Oh God,
it's supposed to be 10.
Oh, it is. Oh yeah, and you know he got twins to take care of and everything, man. Golly, Woo. Well, let me let y'all get on up out of here. Listen, love you guys. For those of you who are on, please, man, make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure if you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, subscribe, follow Facebook. Hey, make sure you're following our guest host as well. Go find B. Warren and Lisa Lace on social media. You want to be involved in what they have going on. All right, then. Well, listen, guys, we love you guys. And until next time, keep rising. Yeah.